And welcome to a new episode of the Eastern Lariat podcast, your show for news, notes, reviews, and opinions on the world of Japanese pro wrestling here at cagematch.net. As always, I am your host, STRIGGA, and I am joined by Dylan. Dylan, it is Hanami season in Japan right now. The cherries, they are blossoming. The sun is out here in my part of Germany where I am. It is getting warmer. It's spring season. Spring actually is my favorite season. It is not as hot as the summer, but it's just a lovely weather outside. I was having a run. I was doing some cardio outside, enjoying the sun here, and I am hyped to do this show right now.
Hell yeah, Strigga! Into April, new month, second quarter of the year. We're already 1/4 of the way through 2025.
Crazy.
Man, yeah, the time flies fast when you're having fun, I suppose. Really excited for April coming up, though. Like you said, Sakura blossoms coming in. We do love seeing that. They actually do, very nearby, in a city a little bit away from me called Nashville.
I've heard about the city.
Yes, like I said, it's very well known for the Music City, as some people call it. But I don't know if anybody knows this. There's actually like kind of a rivalry between Memphis, my hometown, and Nashville. Like we kind of hate each other in a lot of ways. Nashville is like the privileged city compared to Memphis. We're like the blue collar one, but regardless, I got older. I got over all that eventually. But they have their own cherry blossom festival, like that they do in Nashville, celebrating Japan and all of that stuff. It's like free of attendance and everything like that. They have a sector of the city that's dedicated to that and has a lot of Japanese stuff there, which is really cool. I'm probably going to go to Nashville later in the month. I'm going to my first ever May Day Parade concert at the end of the month, so I'm very excited about this month and in relation to Nashville specifically. But more than that, I'm very happy to see springtime is here. Weather's getting a little nice. The problem is, I know a lot of people have a great affinity for springtime, but where I'm from is called Tornado Alley.
Yeah.
So, like, we've actually had a couple of like kind of bad storms.
Yeah, I've read about that.
Yeah, recently, and the surrounding area like got it even worse than us. Like where stuff was getting destroyed and stuff. Like I know somebody like half of her city got destroyed like in the storm, and it was crazy. So we really have to be careful in Tennessee, Missouri, Kentucky, Mississippi, all those places. Shout out to everybody in the South right now. Hopefully everybody's doing good and healthy. And overall, we'll get through the rain. After a tornado, there's always a rainbow at the end, right? So we got to look forward to that.
Oh, I guess it's true. I mean, if you say that, you're more experienced.
Well, I mean, after any rainstorm, really, right? That's the point of the rainbow. There. So hopefully we see good lights, good times, good happiness, and good wrestling coming forward in the spring, because we got a lot to talk about and stuff, not just that's happened, but stuff in the future as well.
Yes. Very good. I have a long list actually of promotions that we're going to get through on this Hanami episode here of the Eastern Lariat. Why don't we start, Dylan, with All Japan Pro Wrestling? They had their Dream Power Series coming to an end this past Saturday in the morning hours. For me, I just got up and sat down to watch the show for breakfast. It was actually perfect for me. It was a show from Ottawa. They drew an official house of 2,098 fans. In the main event, we saw Jun Saito defeat Kento Miyahara to have his third defense of the Triple Crown right now, going into the Champion Carnival as the champion, I guess, as most people expected. Nobody really expected a title change to Kento Miyahara here, especially because Miyahara is also the World Tag Team Champion. There are always these articles on Tokyo Sports and whatever outlets there are of someone calling themselves the next quadruple crown champion. Whenever you see someone call themselves the quadruple crown champion, you know that's not coming to fruition. And in this case, it was the same. Kenta Miyahara still with 2 belts and not with 5 belts. It was a Kenta Miyahara main event on the lower tier, I would say. They didn't do anything wrong, but the match, in my opinion, took a real long time to get going, especially because with the Saito brothers, you always get a nice portion of the match of outside brawling, and they always make sure to get the fans towels, to weep their sweat into the towels, and to have this kind of shtick to their game. And then the match kept building until it ended then really quickly. It was a quick finish after 27 minutes, I thought. I wasn't too much into the main event, and I gotta say, when I'm looking up and down this card, there weren't too many matches that I really was a fan of. The All Asia tag match really didn't do anything for me. I thought I don't know, it has a high rating on Cage Match with 7s and 8s. But
22 minutes of this.
I really was not a fan of it, especially because it was so long with Takashi Yoshida in the match, and that didn't help, to be quite honest. Something similar to the main event, the Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Yuma Aoyagi match took a while to get going, but the final minutes I thought were really interesting and fun. But other than that, this show, it missed this real highlight, in my opinion, and very unfortunate was that the junior heavyweight title match had to be cancelled because Musashi was out with illness. And I think that match really would have stood out on this show.
Yeah, totally agree. I just think that the show, I mean, it's a bummer because it's right before the carnival, right?
Hmm.
I think the ideal version of this show, because they do a big show every year in March before the carnival starts, is to an end with something really great and like have a lot of fire. Like, I mean, last year it wasn't great, but the title change at least got interest in the tournament. Like with Anzai beating Nakajima, it was far from great, but it did was an exciting thing that you could go to, and I just think that this show was like the ultimate nothing show in a lot of ways. And another thing I didn't like, I have to say, was the Suwama and Seigo deal. I really wish that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I know Seigo's not that important, but I really wish they could have had more of a match. Kento and June, I think, yeah.
That's the issue here with Suwama and Seigo. I mean, Seigo, you said he's not that important, but going back to that junior title match that we talked about, that junior title match was so well received by the audience, and Seigo was a huge part of that. And I think he's not important to the company, but he is so incredibly over with the crowd. And
yeah,
then
he should be.
Yeah, and then you get Suwama in. Suwama is only doing a very select few big shows for All Japan these days anymore because he's with Evolution. And even with Evolution, he's only working twice a month or so.
Yeah.
In the ring, that is. Of course, he has his office job. But if you get Suwama for one of these big shows, wouldn't you want to get something worthwhile out of the guy? And not something like this here? You get him into the ring for 15 seconds to squash one of the guys that is really over with the crowd. I think it was so confusing to everybody that was watching this show because it didn't do anything for either guy, and it hurt Seigo Tachibana, I think. After the match, they tried to cover it up a bit because it was adopted by the what's it called? The Era of the Fools. Baka no Jidai. Baka no Jidai came out and adopted him, basically, saying, oh yeah, you lost this match so badly, we have to get you up again. But man, there could have been so much more possible in this match. Even a match that would have ended around the 8 or 9 minute mark would have been so much better if Seigo just would have gotten something in this match.
And that's my even bigger problem with it in this particular context, because you're right about everything you're saying, and I've been championing Seigo for a while now, ever since the Gaura title reign. But I think that this show needed a match to be good, and that actually could have been. If you had a match where he was a legit underdog, and you could do something big with him, and just give him a few spots at least. Like, even if they wanted to do this, they could have done this match in a way that it was actually added some quality to the show. I go back to recently on Raw, they did like a 3-minute Tozawa versus Gunther match on there. And it wasn't a banger match or anything like you would hope if they had like a real main event and not a goofy Raw match. But it at least gave Tozawa something the crowd could rally behind him. Here, what can the crowd rally behind? He just got beat.
Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, that's not good business. And for this show, it's worse because if they had the kind of match you're talking about, that could have been the best match on the show. Like with these two.
I was so looking forward to this match. I was just making breakfast, was getting ready to sit down again on my couch, and then the match was over.
And you would have thought that with the match getting scrapped on the show, like this could have been one of the ones to get more time, not less. But I don't think Suwama was very interested in it going any longer.
Apparently not. No.
Otherwise, everything was kind of ho-hum. I thought, to be honest with you, like I will say the funniest part of the show was in the 8-man tag match. Them trying to get Zion over, and particularly Hideki Suzuki.
You can prepare yourself. Then if you're doing a Champion Carnival, pick him. The easiest point is to pick Zion over Hideki Suzuki.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because Hideki put so much effort into making him, and I've never really fully bought into the idea that Hideki's like a particularly lazy worker. Like, I think in both Noah and All Japan, he's showed up when it mattered. And he showed up pretty much all the time in All Japan. But here he went extra, like that extra gear he had. It was interesting to see Kikuta in there with everybody.
Yeah, I thought Kikuta, he matched well with everybody in this match.
Yeah, like everybody fit right in with each other.
Yeah.
I will say I want to shout out a recent appearance I did, my good friend Jessica's Jumping Knee Pod, where we talked a bunch about the Champion Carnival there. And I did want to respect one of my Twitter followers, and one listener to this show too. He's a YouTube commenter for us as well, Makai_6, but in Roman numerals, so he's fancy there. But he was saying, like, why does it look like Ren Ayame looks like they have threatened him to kidnap his family if he doesn't wrestle? Like, that's how he wrestles. And it's kind of true. Like, he never wants to go, like, hard on anybody here, especially compared to some of these guys in this match, too. I thought Kikuta felt energized. We know what guys like Ashino brings to the table. Rei, Saito, Kumar, good big guys, do some power stuff. And then there's Ayabe, and it's like he doesn't want to hurt anybody. Like his problem.
He's, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, did you see the New Age Chronicle Z show from the 23rd?
Yeah.
That had one of the funniest main event finishes I've seen in a long time. Ryukyu Honda did his final vent on Rising Hayato. And Rising Hayato collapsed on Ayabe and Yuma Anzai. Honda got on top of that and thought he had won the match, but of course, like, Rising Hayato had pinned the other two, which was a very funny way to get out of this 4-way match.
Yes, and very good, like, great, like, the power of the pencil comes into play on the show as well, with Hayato getting the win. Yes. Do you think that did they announce that Tsukamoto is going to return? Because I was very excited to see his return.
I mean, he had a good match with Ryo Inoue in that Chronicle Z show, but they didn't announce that he is coming back, at least not now. For the Champion Carnival so far, they have only announced the Champion Carnival matches themselves.
Yeah, well, I'd love to see him. I thought he had a ton of potential.
Yeah,
before,
me too.
And he looked good in that match, like you mentioned. So, I guess anyway. So, very happy to see that. That show was probably better than this big one at Oda City.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, it was at least more enjoyable, I would say. Like, who's to say if it was better, quote unquote, or not? But it was probably more enjoyable. And June. As a champion, I think my expectations are lowering, like, for his matches, because pretty much every one of his matches as champion has not really done it for me, in all honesty. I mean, it's not like he's bad, but I think Tag may be better.
That may be better. And the thing about it is, for his 3 defenses now, he has faced Yuma Anzai, Yuma Aoyagi, and Kento Miyahara. That's the top of the promotion.
Yeah, and I don't think he's gotten the best out of any of those guys.
No,
right? To be honest. And I mean, to me, the Anzai Kento matches were some of his worst, like their worst, like main event matches to me. I mean, it was fine. Like, there's nothing. It was like you said, they didn't do anything wrong.
No, it's just there's in lots of cases with the Saito's singles matches, there's some juice missing. There's some spark missing. There's just a lot of slow pace. And that's what you get in these matches. You have to prepare for a long time of slow pace.
And I think Anzai knew that. That's why his match with Rey was so great. Like, I thought, and the crowd was like really bought into that. But I will say, nice of Kento to bring back the snake limit here. That cross armbar deal he does, triangle choke deal. Very cool that he brought that back for the first time in 5 years, a decade, like who knows how long. But I just think that Kento is well known for having a very well-known formula to his matches.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if this is a sign that maybe that is a problem. But I'm kind of more with you. Like, I think what you said was more. I think it's more on June to me than anything than Kento per se. And we have 3 good examples now of title matches that he had. Yeah, like I said, I'm not saying I'm throwing in the towel on him or anything like that, but it is. I think we've reached the ceiling of June.
Yeah, this Champion Carnival is going to be interesting, definitely, with the group of guys that he is with. I mean, they put him in with Miyahara again. That's probably headlining the Korakuen Hall show they are having. Hideki is in his block. Shotaro Ashino, Kengo Mashimo. That's guys that he can have good matches with. But then there is also guys like Kuma Arashi. I mean, Kuma Arashi is fine overall, but I don't think that they match well.
No.
There's Zion and there's Takashi Yoshida and Davey Boy Smith Jr. I've seen the Davey Boy Smith match live. That wasn't good. So there could be a lot of matches that are completely different from one another in terms of quality in this block.
Yeah, it's a real mixed bag, but I think it was destined to be that way.
Yeah.
With both blocks, because the depth just really isn't there. The high-end talent is good, but there is a drop-off. I mean, look at B block. Like, there's, like you said, a few big matches, and then some other ones that may not deliver. But I do think B might be a little bit. The floor is higher than A block in B. I will say that. But I would say.
I'm so looking forward to Agla Blanc and Mike DiVecchio in Korakuen Hall. They're on the first day, they are facing one another. And they had a match recently in Leipzig for WXW where Mike D did it, or he attempted to do a dive, but he jumped too early and landed right on top of the third rope, actually, and then bounced to the outside. These two in Korakuen Hall for the beginning of Champion Carnival, they are going to go absolutely nuts, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, me too. I think Agla Blanc is going to have some really, he's going to be very motivated to make this run work. I mean, he had that brief run before. It's kind of a junior. He's beefed up a little bit, got up to that heavyweight status now in All Japan. I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to the table. And Mike D's going to be very welcome, warmly welcomed by the fans. So shout out to them. We get the European contingent representing here. With France and Mike D's from Germany, right?
Mike D's from Belgium.
Okay, Belgium, France. My God, Zion's from Australia. We got the whole world represented in this Champion Carnival here. This might be one of the most global Champion Carnivals we've seen.
It actually is, yes. I sent you the Mike D dive, by the way.
Very, very nice. I will watch
as a video.
Yes.
We have lots of international representatives. This might be the most international one since the 2020, which they had to cancel then, back in the day.
Yeah. Mike D totally blew that dive. But very fun.
Love it. Yeah, let's quickly The first match of the show was actually Seki Yoshioka. He was added to this match. Ryo Inoue and Natamura, they went over Atsuki Aoyagi, Kuroshi Otoki Japan, and Taishin Nagao. Seki Yoshioka finished Nagao with the Niten Ichiro. That's the finisher of Musashi, of course. I'm thinking that they might, very, very cool. I think that they might do the match sometime during the Champion Carnival. There is shows where they do 5 block matches at the end of the tournament. There is even a show with 4 matches only of Block B. They have a weird formula for this tournament, by the way.
Yeah,
they have lots of more A block matches for most of the tournament, but then they do 2 Block B matches on the final Sapporo weekend. I'm guessing that's due to wrestlers from Block A being available early and Block B wrestlers being available later. Who knows about that? But the formula definitely is weird and is different from formulas of the last couple of years, where you had a distinct Block A and a distinct Block B final. This is not what we're getting right now. So they might do the junior title match during this tour. There, of course, was another tag match involving Fumino Ryabe and Yuko Miyamoto, winning against Naoki Doi and the Senior Saito of the Saito brothers, of course, prolonging that feud. And you have not really said anything about the All Asia Tag Team title match and about Davey Boss Jr. and Yuma Oyagi yet.
Well, I do want to touch on the Carnival real quick. They are doing the semifinals. We discussed this last episode for the first time in forever, which led to me watching the fantastic Go and Kai match that we brought up, by the way, again, which freaking ruled, by the way. Way better than anything on this show, I promise. But maybe that's changed. Kind of did it. Made them change a little bit of their style. They didn't know how to handle it, I guess. In the past, though, they have done a junior title match right before the final or on the final. I go back to the Sato and Black Mensa Ray junior title match, which ruled from a couple of years ago. Was supposed to be Hiroshi Yamato at first, but he got sick. So that Mensa Ray delivered really big on like 1 day's notice. On this show, the opener was really fun. I thought it was good. Love seeing Nagao in the ring. Still one of my favorite rookies. I think he's coming along very well. In a way, great. Dan's somebody I thought could have been a great pick to replace Cyrus in the Carnival instead of Yoshida, to be honest.
Yeah. He recently had this very good match with Kengo Mashimo on the Evolution show that I saw recently.
Yeah. See, like that could have been a great story set up, but they cannot resist a good goofball, I guess, now. Davey and Yuma was just like the thing is, both of these matches could have been good if they were cut in half. I think. I mean, the tag match might not have even been good. Cut in half, to be honest. But with Onside Hayato, I would trust them, and I thought Omori did some good things in that match. To be fair,
yeah.
It's not like it was all bad. Like Yoshida to me is just like. He just doesn't bring a lot to the table. We have to say that he ever brought a lot to the table to say that he doesn't. I've been watching Cybercalling a long time, Strigga. I know you have too. Like never once was I clamoring for a
more Cybercalling.
Yeah, like we're saying no, he needs to be the face of the company. No, like that never happened.
I mean, the guy has his fans, and he is a lovable goofball. But that is it, you talked about ceilings. That's this guy's ceiling. This Champion Carnival is way high above his ceiling level.
Yeah. And even his ceiling has like fallen flat to a lot of people. His recent Dragon Gate matches.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about the selection. I mean, they surely wanted a guy that can have a similar record to what Cyrus would have gotten. I guess Cyrus is a guy that would have gotten 2 or 3 wins at most. But Dan Tamura could have done the same.
Yeah, Dan could have gotten a win, and it would have meant something for him. I mean, what's the upside in Yoshida at the end of the day? Yeah. He's just a funny undercard guy. Like, they probably wanted somebody big. Yeah. And that's really what this comes down to. He's big. So like that's really it. But the Davey and Yuma match, I just thought they really dragged this out a long way. Yuma, I thought, did a decent job. Tried to really get the most out of him by the end, and Davey did all right by the end, but there was nothing that really grabbed me at all about that match. It was a total 5 out of 10 to me.
The thing about it is, about this match, the match only came into this position because of the junior match being cancelled.
Right.
The junior match would have been third from the top, and this one would have been fourth from the top. And if the junior match had taken place, this match would have been a 10-minute match.
Exactly. Like maybe they could have, maybe they added on some time between this and the semi-main event. Yeah, because of that. Yeah. And I think that would have made both matches a lot better if they cut a time off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it wasn't necessary to add these minutes to the show because the show was pretty lengthy in and of itself. Even with the 27-minute main event, it was completely okay. Would have been completely okay if the All Asia tag match went 15 and the Smith and Aoyagi match went 10. I don't think anybody would have rushed to get their money back.
What are you talking about, Stringer? It's Oda City. Like I said, you're telling me you don't want to see. Damn it, where's my Yoshida 20-minute match?
I paid for Takashi Yoshida.
How many people legit paid just to see Takashi Yoshida at that show, do you think?
I didn't take a survey, so
we can only speculate.
Can only speculate. I wouldn't say how much was the attendance? 2098.
Over under 98.
Under.
Yeah, way under. I would say. But yeah, I really haven't liked his comedy at all in Dragon Gate either. I think he's doing some really horrible work with the Owari Gate, the cross dressing and all that stuff that they're doing. That's messed up. By the way, shout out to Transgender Visibility Day recently. We got to give some love there as well. But not comedy like belittling them like what he was doing. I was not very happy with that, to be honest. I don't think anybody liked that overall. So he's very unfunny to me right now. And in the past, yes, he did some good comedic stuff, but I just don't think there's any good to come from this.
All right, let us take a further look to the Champion Carnival then. Like I said, it is starting on April 9 in Korakuen Hall with these 7 matches actually. Kento Miyahara versus Hideki Suzuki, Jun Saito versus Kengo Mashimo, Davey Boy Smith Jr. versus Takashi Yoshida. There we go. Then Block B, Yuma Aoyagi versus Madoka Kikuta, Mike DiVecchio versus Aigle Blanc, Hokuto Omori versus Yuma Anzai, and Rei Saito versus Ryokyo Honda. What do you think is the main event going to be?
That's a good question.
Kento and Hideki, or will they put Jun and Kengo on top?
I think that Kento and Hideki is the option there of the three.
Too.
Yeah.
Especially with Hideki being with All Japan now. Makes sense.
Yeah, he signed.
Yes. Yeah, we go to Fukuoka on the 12th, Hiroshima on the 13th, Sanyo City on the 19th, Tokorosawa on the 20th. I mean, you can look at all the lineups on ProLove.com. I put them on there. It's going to be interesting until the tail end of the show. There's another Korakuen in the middle of the tournament, by the way. Let's go through that matches here. 4 from Block A and 2 from Block B. 23rd of April, Shotaro Ashino versus Kengo Mashimo. I put in Kento Mashimo. That would be a great wrestler, actually. Kento Mashimo.
Yes, Kento Mashimo.
So Ashino versus Mashimo. Zion versus Takashi Yoshida. Davey Boy Smith Jr. versus Kento Miyahara. Jun Saito versus Hideki Suzuki. Ryukyo Honda versus Ren Ayabe. And Yuma Anzai versus Madoka Kikuta. Like I said before, is there another Korakuen? There's another. What is the Kento and Jun Saito match? Let me see. That's on the 3rd Korakuen of the stretch on May 6th, with the A block matches coming to an end, with Kengo Mashimo versus Takashi Yoshida, Shotaro Ashino versus Kuma Arashi, Hideki Suzuki versus Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Kento Miyahara versus Jun Saito. I'm guessing that will be the deciding match there. Either who makes it through first, or who from the two makes it to the semifinals between Miyahara and Jun Saito.
Yep, and I mean that's what we always look for, right? See what the last matches on on the tour are where they can do it. Like you said, I think that putting it with back-to-back B block was interesting, but pretty much like Onsai and Saito is like going to be really a determining factor in that match. But again, we have to consider the semifinals too. Like 2 different people make it from each block.
Yep.
On there, so yeah, I mean, it could be good. Like the tournament has a lot of good matches. A lot of Champion Carnival recently have kind of underwhelmed until the finals.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that like they really need to get off to a good start, in my opinion. Like that's almost more interesting to me than the finish. If they could have a banger, like Korakuen show at the start. I mean, you've got Aoyagi Kikuta is a really good match, and Kento and Hideki. Like if Kikuta's there to play and Aoyagi's there to play, that could be a great match. Kento and Hideki, we know that they can have a great match. But they really need a big match. Somebody to deliver huge here and have a legit great match to point to because, I mean, look at this Dragon Gate tournament we're going to talk about coming up. That whole tournament, nothing grabbed anybody, like pretty much. And until maybe the end, until the last night. We need a big match to point to throughout the tournament that was like, hey, remember this that happened, and it was this epic match. And a lot of these shows are kind of smaller. You might not get max effort on a lot of these middle shows, and I think that's been the trend every year. And they have the other one with Ashino and Mashimo, and that could be great. Anzai versus Kikuta could be a fantastic match. Like they need one of these big matches in the Korakuen specifically to step up and over deliver to that you could point to as a fan and be like, hey, if you get into All Japan, you could have this to look forward to. Yeah, and I think they need that.
That's right. So it's like you said, it's hard to project who is moving on with the semifinals. But Dylan, what would you say? What final would make sense right now?
When you look at it, I think almost everybody, and this is another thing that they really need to work on throughout the tournament.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost everybody believes Rey is going to win the tournament.
Yes.
At this point, so they need to find somebody that can be a believable challenger to him on there. And I feel like Kento is like the obvious answer. Like just like last year with June, he could play off the story last year. He beat June last year. Rey could beat Kento this year. Leads directly to their match. I think you have
to be careful though with Kento Miyahara and his losses, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I don't think he'll be in the final again to lose again. I mean, there would be 3 straight losses to the Saitos, even though he won the tag title. I don't know if you want to do that.
Who would the other option be?
I was looking for, like I said, especially because he signed with All Japan this year, I was looking for Rei Saito versus Hideki Suzuki in the final.
Yeah. I mean, I could get down with that for sure.
Because much like with Jun Saito, I mean, Kento Miyahara is the obvious answer for a great wrestler to put Saito with, but Hideki Suzuki could also be one of those great wrestlers that Rei Saito could have a good match with.
Oh, I'm sure they would deliver huge. Hideki in the final has always been like a very consistent performer. I mean, do we know if they're going to do like this crisscross semifinals?
Oh, I will have to check, but I guess they will. That's the trend and formula recently for most of the tournaments in Japan. I'm right now on
again, more on Rey de Parejas shortly. But like, if that's true, that opens the door for an Anzai versus Rey, like rematch from the final show if they wanted to.
Yeah, they do A block first place versus B block second place, and A block second and B first. Yeah, Chris Ross.
Okay, let's say B block final show. It all comes down to Anzai and Rey to see who makes it. And let's say Honda, whoever wins Honda Kikuta will advance. Let's say Anzai and Saito go to a draw, and they both advance, and that sets up the final. Like if they do the crisscross final, like that kind of avoids your Kento worries.
Right. Yeah. Especially because Anzai also had a title match with Jun Saito earlier this year.
Yeah, and he's like one of the guys you would actually believe could win as well, like over Rey. Like he's never won the Carnival before. And it's like that's the one thing he hasn't quite achieved yet.
I like
so
that.
it could work. Yeah, it could work. Like that could work. I could definitely be into that. And I think that's a more believable final. If it's Kento and Rey, like I personally am going into that match thinking Rey's 100% winning this at the end of the day. Kento just got a title shot. He beat Jun last year. Why wouldn't Rey win? If Onsai wins, I could kind of believe it. Like, hey, maybe this will be like they will put it back on Onsai. Like maybe this Jun run hasn't lit the world on fire. They want to go back to Onsai again. I could believe that if that comes in at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Other than that, all the Champion Carnival matches will be available through All Japan TV. And I'm really looking forward to how Madoka Kikuta performs in this tournament. I think he could have some cool matches with the likes of Yuma Oyagi, Yuma Anzai, Honda, of course. Should be good. Even with Mike DiVecchio and Eglolo.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try hard.
They're going to try hard. Yeah. Well, that is All Japan Pro Wrestling, I guess. Then we've said before, there is this show on June 1st. We're looking forward to. But now, Dylan, we've touched on it numerous times throughout the All Japan block here that we talked about. Dragon Gate's Rey de Parejas came to an end, and when I saw what the final was and when I saw what the result was, I kind of felt stupid when we talked about it on our last show. But then again, I was not aware that Shun Skywalker and Homare could still make it to the semifinals. We were scrambling around of how many points you needed to advance to the final rounds. And then they also did this finalist decision match. So apparently the system is not that you get the tiebreaker in these blocks. I mean, maybe they just didn't do it because of their storyline they wanted to have unfold. Who knows about that? But Shun Skywalker and Homare made it to the final rounds, and they defeated the Natural Vibes team in a Block B second place decision match to then advance to the semifinals, which led to this show on this past Sunday actually having quite the unusual formula, which told you, of course, yes, Shun Skywalker and Homare are definitely winning this tournament. So they did the Block B decision match at first, then they did 2 undercard matches, then they went to the semifinal matches, had 2 more between the semifinals and the finals, and finally Homare and Shun Skywalker had the 3rd match of the night, defeating the Z-Brats team, all to get that done. And Dylan, all to get Z-Brats over basically as the main characters of this time here in Dragon Gate. Of the first half of the year, Z-Brats have become the main characters of the promotion, even though that a stable like them are usually the antagonists of the promotion. Now they are the protagonists, and they are running the biggest storyline of the promotion between 2 blocks of the same unit.
Well, to me, I think ultimately I saw Homare's first match with Mochizuki.
Yep.
And it's hard for me not to think the best use of him is as a babyface. Like, in the grand scheme of things, like an ace level character, which I think he could very well grow to be. And Shun, I just think that they're really, leading towards him being a babyface against Minoura. And I think that this was, a great... I mean, like I said, the story kind of wrote itself, by the end. I think that this tournament was definitely lacked bangers or anything like that. There weren't any, to be honest.
It really lacked heat.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
it was just matches and some nice storylines throughout it. Yes.
Oh, I thought the booking was very strong.
Yeah, the booking was strong. Yes.
On paper, you look at this team, your young future ace, possibly winning 3 matches in one night and getting the pinfall win at the end. I thought that was
absolutely
really smart.
was strong booking, and the reaction to Homare finally delivering the 450, the Firebird Splash.
My move.
Yes, and even
Shadows
pinning Kota Minoura. That got a huge reaction from the crowd. But much like with the Champion Carnival, you said it before. lots of these tournament matches took place in smaller buildings, and I've caught up with most of the YouTube uploads they've had, and those were fine. And there was this one match, I think it was Yamato and BB Hulk against Mochizuki and Akihiro Sahara, which was a 20-minute draw, but they cut it down to 10. It's on YouTube.
Well, it's like I said, Sahara is always good in his matches.
Yes, he was great, actually. I mean, he really performed on a high level. I absolutely like his spear that he's doing. He has great timing already, great precision, and positioning with his moves. That guy's going to go places.
Yeah.
But especially Homare, of course. I mean, they positioned him so strongly to a level that I already began thinking what could lead to Homare eventually turning on Shun Skywalker. I don't think
that would be.
I don't think that's coming right now. But the strong positioning of Homare made me think that he will eventually. I mean, he's a huge fan of Shun Skywalker's. That's the introduction that he had in Dragon Gate. But eventually, he will come to the point that he sees, maybe I'm much better than this dude. Maybe I have to get on my own, and maybe I have to take what he has to get to that point. That would be a great, great story. And down the road, I'm really looking forward to what they do right now. There is this internal rivalry within Zebrats that we talked about before, and that will definitely culminate in the upcoming weeks. So, interesting development.
I absolutely love that idea of Homare out Shun Skywalker, and that being the impetus for his babyface turn, is that he got betrayed by his protege and top student, and on top of it, that rivalry is so much more interesting than Shun versus Kota Minoura. on top of it, if Homare was the leader of Zebrats instead of Minoura, I think that actually fixes a ton of problems. Like, if that happens, and I would have, and already have, with this storyline. Ultimately, I mean, this is something a lot of fans have really thought was going to happen last year, like Shun versus Kota. Like, basically, as soon as Minoura turned, we were all waiting to see Shun getting kicked out of Zebrats or something of that sake. But if Homare did it, that would be such an emotional stinger, and could actually show Shun, as batshit crazy as he may be, actually have character growth. Like, that helps him grow as a person, in the context of Dragon Gate. But I feel like they're gonna be locked in on this Minoura and Shun thing for now.
For now, yeah.
Yeah, and I could see Shun and Homare both going babyface. To be honest, and take any random member of Zebrats with them pretty much, on there. Just have Minoura and Jason together, and the rest can kind of fall into place.
What did you actually think about the matches that we had?
I thought the best
semi-final and final match.
Yeah, I thought the best one was clearly Homare and Shun versus Jackie and Rita.
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah, that was the best match of the tournament to me. I thought it was the only match I would call great. I thought the first match, the tiebreaker match, was okay. It was really disappointing considering the names involved, but it wasn't bad or anything. You expect KZ and Jay and Shun and Homare to really deliver, but it's clear that to me that they were saving for Jackie and Rita, and they delivered huge. Jackie and Rita are just such an amazing team. I think if they had a tag title run, they would be heavy on and high on the list of tag team of the year votes by the end. I just think they work so well together, and Shun and Homare worked great. Then the main event had good story to it. I don't think it was as good of a match as the gold class match, but I thought it really served its purpose. I would say.
And that would have been my point too about the semifinal matches. I mean, I'm not too much of a fan of this run right now that Kota Minoura and Jason Lee are having as a tag team, but it was very clear that they were positioned to be the heel team of Zebrats in the semifinals, whereas Shun and Homare were more positioned to be the face team against Jackie and Rita to lead to the final here eventually. I wasn't too. There were so many matches with outside brawling in the Zebrats matches that it really dragged it down for me in the end a bit. So I was happy with this show in the end, but not too thrilled with everything going on. But the decision in the end to have Homare win was a great moment to end off the show.
And the whole tournament,
yeah.
I would say overall, like it kind of gives, because like I said, this tournament I feel is extremely forgettable all in all. But the final night with a big story-centered plot of Homare winning 3 matches, and Shun as well, of course, but Homare getting the win in the end, that is really well booked. It gives this tournament kind of an identity going forward that you can point to.
Yep.
We'll see what they do with the because now we have to also have the title match between these two very teams.
Yes.
Which we could all expect something crazy to happen with it. And whatever the next chapter is of the story will probably happen then.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we got to go through 2 more matches here on the card.
Yeah.
First, the Paradox versus Mochizuki Dojo team for the Mochizuki Dojo match, which ended with Yamato actually getting the submission victory over Akihiro Sahara. And after the match, Daiki Yanagiuchi called out Yamato for the Brave Gate Championship. So we're getting the first Brave Gate Championship title match since Yamato won the belt, I think. And that is actually taking place on the Korakuen Hall show on April 7th, this coming Monday. That's when that title match is happening. And of course...
I just want to say on that, like, I want to really quote Jay here, where he said, GM, Yamato, and based on the reaction just now, the fans don't really think he has a chance. So he better show out. So
yeah.
Well, and they're right.
I mean, what finish could they possibly have for Daiki Yanagiuchi to win the Brave Gate title off of Yamato?
Yeah, that would require so much, like, to go crazy that I don't even want to even speculate on it. I love that they're actually doing the Brave Gate match, though, because I do think that's been, like, a big flaw with the promotion this year, and why I don't think... Well, I don't want to say why, but I think it would be helped if it wasn't like this, that they've kept the Brave Gate on ice all year. Now that they're bringing it back, I think that gives you the potential to build to something with Yamato. Like I said, I kind of speculated on... My idea was Daya taking it in June and then Yoshioka taking the Dream Gate in Kobe World. Like, that was kind of my idea for it. Like right before that, back to back, get discourage the titles. But they could do anything with it. I just don't think it'll be Yanaguchi. Like, he hasn't even had any wins yet, so that would be freaking weird if he was champion.
Weird. In the semi-main, Zebrats...
He's good though, by the way. It's nothing against Yanaguchi.
No, he's good.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't won anything.
In the semi-main, the Zebrats team of Kai, Ishin, Yoshiki Kato, and Gianni Valletta, they destroyed the D-Courage team, especially because D-Courage destroyed themselves in the match. The entire D-Courage group. Yoshioka ended up being pinned by Gianni Valletta because he and Madoka Kikuta, they just can't get along. And after the match, it came to a situation where Yuki Yoshioka, Dragon Daya, and Madoka Kikuta stood there in the ring. And Madoka, it was Tanaka, Daya, and Kikuta standing in the ring. And Kikuta did not attack Yoya Tanaka, but he pushed down Dragon Daya, which was interesting, I thought, which could also point to the direction that they are going. And Yoshioka, of course, was pinned in 5 minutes by Valletta, which is now leading to the rematch between the two, a singles match between the two on the Korakuen Hall show that I just mentioned. And of course, this Korakuen Hall show has, I think, let me see where D-Courage. We might go through the card here for this next show.
This is going to be an important show in all
yes,
for various
absolutely.
reasons. Yeah.
So the opening night of Gate of Passion 2025, Dragon Kid, Naoki Doi, and Kagetora, and Don Fuji against Yasushi Kanda, Toru Owashi, Monda Ryo, and Punch Tominaga. Second match, Strong Machine J, UT, and Luis Mante against Masaki Mochizuki, Ryu Fuda, and Akihiro Sahara. Third match, Ben K, Rita, Jackie Kamai, Mochizuki Jr., and Hio against Kai, Jason Lee, Ishin, Yoshiki Kato, and Homare. Then the aforementioned Yuki Yoshioka versus Gianni Valletta match. I mean, everything points to Yuki Yoshioka getting his first big win after his return in this match. But this match could also signal lots of shenanigans.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I also think it's possible if they blow their load on the Dia Inferno story on this show, this could easily be a situation where, I mean, like you said, I think. By the way, I do want to mention I love how they booked Yoshioka during this tournament because
Yes.
initially I thought like they could win. Like I thought they were a favorite to win the whole tournament, like the Courage team, and that could lead to something later. But they went the old school route of really putting him under, like and giving him some, like it gives him a mountain to climb, even more so than just coming back on its own, which we know his injury was very serious as it was. But it gives him like it really extends his story. He doesn't just get wins right away, and he looked good, like as a performance wise. I thought he did a very good job. But I love that they really did not put him over at all. Like he has not found his legs yet. The old Yoshioka in the storyline is not there. And I like that because it gives you a lot of interesting angles to play off. So I can easily see Valletta killing Yoshioka in this match, and that giving an excuse for him not to be there when Dia Inferno inevitably runs out later, and that can lead to more speculation. Like I think that could easily happen as well. But I also like the idea of him just getting the win and this being his jumping off point as well.
I mean, Dia Inferno doesn't have to run out. We'll come to that match here later on. Before that, BB Hulk's 20th anniversary special 6-man tag match is him teaming with Jinsei Shinsaki and Yoshimoto Shimohigashi, trainee of Kota Ibushi's. And actually, BB Hulk and him, Shimohigashi hasn't had that many singles matches, or many matches overall, actually. It's only 4 matches that we have on Cage Match. 3 of his 4 matches that he had in his career have been either teaming with BB Hulk or against BB Hulk. So there is a connection between the two. I'm not too sure what the connection between the two is, but there is one. So he was included in his 20th anniversary match. And they're facing off against Susumu Ikusuka, Casey, and Katsuo. He's coming down from Hokkaido to wrestle one of his former peers. That's a nice match for BB Hulk.
Yeah, Katsuo. Man.
Yeah.
Does he even still wrestle?
Yeah, he does. But he's mostly wrestling up in Hokkaido, like I said.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's really cool. Like I love this, especially as somebody who like BB Hulk was my guy when I first started watching Dragon Gate USA and Dragon Gate proper. He was like my favorite back then. I know you all remember the Hulk and Shingo feud with the hair versus hair match. You have not lived until you've seen full dancing BB Hulk tear off his wig at the end to reveal he's bald. At the end, yeah. Which did happen. By the way, I'm not making this up. But yeah, it's a really cool match.
It's a cool match. Then in the semi-main is the Yamato versus Daiki Yanagiuchi match. And the main event of this show is D-Courage, Dragon Dia, Madoka Kikuta, and Ryoya Tanaka against Shun Skywalker, Kota Minura, and Dia Inferno.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can easily. That's why I said they could play that into something. I mean, I don't think Yoshioka will be Dia Inferno ultimately, but it gives more of an impetus for Kikuta to lose his.
Yes.
Like at the end to be like, no, I know you're him or whatever. And so
How about this? Madoka Kikuta gets injured throughout the match, and Dia Inferno also leaves during the match. And then there's a return of Dia Inferno, but it is a different shaped dude than the Dia Inferno before. So within the match, Madoka Kikuta then turns on D-Courage and joins with Zebrats.
DG shooters, you have found identities through people's asses before, and you will do it again if that happens. I know the DG fans out there, we are very studious at the end of the day. But yeah, that's another thing that could play into something. I like that idea as well. If this is a side of Kikuta turning, is there any so now with this match, it kind of has to be Kikuta or just something completely random, pretty much. Is there any way this match, like the Dia Inferno, who is it? Like who is this supposed to be under this mask in this match? Or is it even possible that this could be revealed to be someone else entirely?
It is always possible. Remember when Shun Skywalker played with Natural Vibes and making them believe that there is a there is a trade-up among their stable, and in the end there was not.
Yep, you're right about that. Which would be fine. Like, that would be fine if they did that, and maybe Kakuta. Well, because they did a very similar story last year, remember, with Jay and Vibes, like what you mentioned. Yeah.
Yes.
And he ended up, like, siding with Vibes again and just became a babyface again, which I thought worked out pretty well overall.
Worked out well. But I really think that Kikuta needs a reboot.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he needs it more than Jay did last year. I would say.
He had his big babyface run, which was fine, but he never excelled in the main event position as a babyface. So him turning back heel, I mean, it could give him new momentum that he's missing right now.
It would be kind of weird if he turns heel and then immediately goes to the carnival. So.
That's right. That's right.
Like, there's this big turn instead of revenge. Like, nah, I'm out for the next month or so.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, so that would be kind of weird.
But let me see. In the middle of the Champion Carnival, there actually is Kikuta's hometown show, so he's not completely out of the loop for Dragon Gate. It's on April 29.
Yeah, like I said. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I think Kikuta is the betting favorite, for sure, to turn in all of this. But I do think they need to at least explain who this is in the mask, like one way or the other. Because obviously he's not wrestling himself in this match. At least come out and say, oh, so and so was the man, like Homare was under the mask all along, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what if they both turn? What if Yoshioka is under the mask and him and Kikuta turned against the Courage?
Wow. Only with the Daya and Tanaka. I mean, the Daya and Yoshioka team was so popular through the Rey de Parejas that I really wouldn't split them up.
Yoshioka doesn't need to be heel. Anyway, like, he should be a babyface.
Yeah.
It would be like a good, like, subversion of expectations if Yoshioka won the belt as a heel and then Shun turned babyface, and then that was the Kobe World main event, but in like the opposite way than you would expect. But no, Yoshioka should be a main babyface character, not a heel.
What about Tanaka?
Yeah, I threw him out there originally. That he was the one to do it, because I think that would be a good subversion of expectations. Like, because I think everybody expects it to be Kikuta, but Tanaka could use something to get to the next level too, if they wanted to go that route.
That's right.
And I like him a lot.
He has been a babyface ever since he's been with Dragon Gate.
Yeah, and I like him a lot as a wrestler. I think he's got a ton of upside. So if they wanted to go that route with him, they're going to need somebody in whatever the split is, like with Z-Brats is coming, and they're kind of laying the foundation for whatever the next gen heel unit could be, like, you know, with how things are going right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got the Dead or Alive show coming up a month later, so they might want to set up a cage match in all of this. There's just a lot of moving parts on this show.
And you mentioned it with Homare and Shun Skywalker winning Rey de Parejas. That should even against the Open the Twin Gate champions, that should signal a title match if that team is still together after April 7th. But I can totally see the Twin Gate being on the line at Dead or Alive between these two teams again, because you could do that match again at the big show with lots of stipulations, lots of shenanigans around it. I think it would be a great main event for Dead or Alive.
Tag team cage match?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be something a little different. You know, my idea was like an all Z-Brats cage match, like, you know, 8 guys, 10 guys, crazy type. But your idea feels more in line with what they've done recently with it, where it's something a little different. You get these two in a big match. You could do, like you said, with the cage comes lots of bullcrap that comes with it, like lots of interferences and stuff like that. You could have the whole crew there. So I love that idea. I think that perfectly fits and is a legit main event. You could do a storyline in the undercard. Maybe now that Yamato's brought the Brave Gate match, he could do a double dose title match.
You know what I see coming for Dead or Alive? What? It's actually Yamato versus Gianni Valletta.
That's a redo of last year with Monte and Valletta and Dead or Alive, which we did not like very much.
Yes, but if Valletta beats Yuki Yoshioka on this show, and he has won lots of matches. He's won all of his matches, all of his singles matches, and won a lot in tag matches too. I mean, he is the most pushed guy right now.
Yeah, that's true. He's very protected. Yeah, and I think, I mean, you get the story of a different type of challenger for Yamato.
I like Johnny Valletta a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he's big. I like him in his role. I don't like when they push him to title matches, like singles matches. You know, like that's the thing. I like him as he is. I don't love him in singles title matches. But yeah, I think that's a fine idea. You get a protected challenger, gives Yamato something different to do for a month, and in a match where he won't be the main character. You know, like this is a throwaway title shot anyway. So why not just do something kind of more of a spectacle type of match with Valletta? I think it works in this context if the tag match, cage match is the main event.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We don't know anything about Dead or Alive yet. We have to see how this Korakuen Hall show goes. But then this Dire Inferno storyline is so interesting.
And that's the strength of the company right now. I don't think, like, their match of the list year, like, you know, listing this year is pretty weak, I would say, like, of every major company. But in terms of storyline quality and booking quality, they're very high. Like, I would say they're one of the best, like, and more dramatic companies right now in Japan. And I mean that in a good way. So I think that they have a lot of cool things going on and a lot of possibilities. I always say that, like, a lot of times possibilities can trump actual quality. Like, let your mind do the work as a fan, or let the fans' minds do work for you. That could go a long way. And I think they have that in spades right now. And I think the booking itself has been very strong in general. So I think that there's a lot going on. This show coming up next week is going to be really, like, really cool and really interesting. And some stuff is going to happen. We don't know what exactly it is, but some stuff is going to happen. And I look forward to us talking about it in the future.
Yeah. Like you said, it's a strong year for storyline telling in DG. Yes, so much for now for the men's side. We'll be returning to New Japan and Noah later here on the show. Just recently, Dylan, we had the Korakuen Hall show from Marigold on March 30 with Bozilla in the main event against Utami Hayashishita, falling short for the Marigold Championship. And in the semi-main event, we had the Twin Star title on the line with Nanae Takahashi and Seiri Yamaoka, the champion team, defeating the marvelous team of Takumi Iroha and Senka Akatsuki. And this match has a great rating of 8.57. And that is so much more special, especially because two of the four wrestlers are very, very young into their careers. Let me see when did Akatsuki actually debut? I have to look that up right now quickly. Senka Akatsuki, she has 16 matches to her name, and she debuted on the 27th of October last year. Of course, Seiri Yamaoka only debuted in January of this year. So two rookies in this match. And I really, really liked what they did with one another. There was so much unusual, and it was pointed out in commentary by Stu Fulton as well. There was so many unusual pinning situations in this match, which felt so fresh in a title match situation where in title matches situations, lots of things are often patterned, but with these two, with Yamaoka and Akatsuki, lots of these situations came in fresh and they felt like organic wrestling situations. That was so great. And then being guided by their veterans, by Takahashi and by Takumi Iroha, that not only made for a very cool veteran and rookie dynamic between the two teams, but also, of course, made for a great rivalry between the two promotions and who has the better rookies.
Absolutely. I love this whole deal, like whole rivalry going on right now between the two promotions. And I think Marvelous in particular, like between Senka Akatsuki and Sora Ayame, she's another rookie. They recently had a show for the 27th on their own. They both had big tag matches. And a big shout out to Sakura Hirota filling in for Mio Momono with Yurika Oka and was phenomenal in that role. That was the best match on the show to me, was Sora and Iroha versus Oka and Hirota. But Akatsuki's very good too. And she is. I mean, they're more than good. They're great. Like both Both of them are good. Senka and Sora. Keep your eye on them for Marvelous. They're going to be like really great workers in the future. Kind of similar to like Kohaku and Meisera, like back in the day, like when they came in. I think they have that kind of upside. Yamaoka is like a dream rookie for Marigold. She's clearly stood out and done good. I will say this because I haven't really been a big fan of her run at all in Marigold, and I know she's gotten some heat online. There's been these trolls online that always post her botches, but yeah. I think Victoria Yuzuki had a really strong match versus Nanai a couple of weeks ago on the March 11th show. It was her Shinjuku face, and they were the main event. I thought that was the best Yuzuki ever looked, and I thought that she really reclaimed her status as like a really good rookie, because I don't think she's really lived up to that billing.
Yeah, I liked her too in this undercard tag match that they did on this show, with her and Kizuna Tanaka losing to Rhea Seto and Minami Yuki. I liked what you did in this match.
Yeah, I thought that match was really good. I think that Seto is another really talented rookie as well.
She's gotten so good with her ground game specifically.
Yeah, so she's really my kind of wrestler. Not only that, her extensive use of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure poses that she does that I've picked on here. This is the kind of scouting you don't get from the other shows, people.
I see.
Yes, but if you notice, she does a lot of those. There, she's clearly a big fan. But Minami Yuki, she's somebody who came up in Ice Ribbon originally, and then transferred to Marigold shortly after. But I think that she's done pretty good. Not on the level of Seto, and definitely not of a Yamaoka or a Senka. But Tanaka and Yuzuki, they were both rookies with big name value that showed promise. They were, Yuzuki, when she debuted at Stardom, was like their choice, like that she was going to be the next in line, so to speak, to be that Mayu or, anything like that, Yuzupan, whatever. But she obviously transferred to Marigold like really quickly into her career. And Tanaka, everyone was hyped for her because of her parents, and and everybody knows Minoru Tanaka specifically. But they haven't been that great to me.
She's rough actually. She's rough.
Yeah, like and I don't want to be too hard on these people. They're rookies. At the end of the day, they have ways to grow. And again, look at Yuzuki. Like, she started to show improvements after a pretty rough year. I would say, like, her first started, she started to get better. Tanaka started to grow a little bit. Seto, I've always liked it. I think she's improved. I think she specifically has improved at a massive rate.
Yeah, I like this finish in the match so much. I mean, Tanaka looked good in this finishing situation as well with Seto. Seto has set up this great-looking Aussie suplex, double arm drag down, basically. They had some cool Fujiwara armbar exchanges throughout the match, so they fit well with one another.
Yeah, absolutely. So good young talent. Again, we kind of talked about it in a couple of episodes back. It feels like Marigold in general is improving from where they were at the start. I think it's because they had so many green people like at the start. And that some people haven't improved that much, but some people have. And I think that they have a good future with them, even though, I mean, I personally didn't love this show until the last two matches.
Yeah.
But I thought it was fun to watch, like, the young wrestlers throughout.
I mean, the United National title match, Mai Sakurai going over Erina Yamanaka, they put lots of effort into this match.
I agree, and I've been one of the doubters on Sakurai. I thought they looked pretty good here. I would say,
and it was built well because Yamanaka came into this match. Was it her first? It was a third match overall in Marigold and already a title match. So they had to put her out to be strong, and they did with this great-looking plancha that she did from the top rope, where she had got a lot of height. And she busted her nose, which looked really grim. So the effort level really was there between the two, and I thought the match was quite good.
Oh yeah, I definitely think it was better than I expected, to be honest.
I thought they with the crossface.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought they did good in that match. But I thought the show peaked with the semi-main. Like, the tag match was where you saw, like, first of all, the true greatness of Nanai Takahashi, which I mentioned in the Yuzuki match a couple weeks ago. But once again, here in Aroha, she's been in this weird place like the last few years, like whether it's injuries, maybe she's been off the radar with Marvelous. Like, I don't know what it is, because for years she was like one of my favorites. Like, I thought she was an incredible worker. Loved her hair, like some of the best hair in wrestling. Always a key winner in that category every year. But just a tremendous talent. And it feels like she's really been on the back burner overall in the Joshi scene. Now with this, I feel like they're getting them back. Like all of the Marvelous girls. Unfortunately, Momono's injured right now. But when she gets involved in all of this, like whoever she goes against in Marigold is going to be really benefited from that. I think Aroha's a wonderful talent still. Nana is just a phenomenal wrestler. I think losing her is going to suck for the company. But you see somebody like Yamaoka, she's showing that she deserves her spot. And I mean, give them credit. They chose her right away. Like, hey, like this is somebody, we've seen her training. We know what she's capable of. She's a level above the others. So we're going to put her in a title like situation already. Like, it didn't even take her it didn't take her any time at all really to be the champion with Nanai. And she's performed well. Sanka Akatsuki is great. I absolutely love her as a wrestler as well. Again, keep an eye on Sora IMA as well for Marvelous. I think anybody out there watching her matches would really like her as well. So, yeah, great young talent here.
What do you think about the main event? Utami and Bozilla in 19 minutes.
I thought it was very good. Not nearly as good as Bozilla's match versus Sorry. I will say. Like, that was that to me is like a super underrated match. Like, even though I know a lot of people liked it, I thought it was excellent. This was good. And Utami, I like her. Like, I like Utami. But she doesn't grab me. She still doesn't. Even now, somebody made a comment on Cage Match I'm looking at right now where they said that her reign felt like it hasn't gotten out of first gear yet. And I agree with that. Even after this match, Bozilla's been one of my favorites. I've praised her more than anybody else. I think, like, I've loved Bozilla's run in Marigold, but I do not think this is a top tier title defense. I just thought it was very good.
I liked how they played it with Bozilla throwing Utami around to position her as the underdog and winning it in the end from the underdog position. And I thought that she really looked good when she got Bozilla up twice for her crucifix deal there. So that was good. The aftermath of
I didn't like the interference, though. I thought maybe that's another reason why this didn't grab me.
That's right.
That may be another reason why I didn't like this as much. I mean, again, it was good by the end, but the stuff with Darkness Revolution, I mean, I'm just like so out on all of this. I mean, they had that match with like Megaton, Gigaton, and I was like, man, get Mariah away from these people like as fast as possible, please. Marigold. And then they interfered in the main event. And I was like, but they did some good things. What you said was true. I would say.
Yes. So let me see. What I was going to say was after the main event, that really was mind-boggling. Because in the video before the title match, they showed how Bozilla defeated Mirai to get this title match. And after the main event, Mirai comes out to challenge Utami Hayashishita for the title. Yes, of course, Mirai had won her match earlier on the card, but it was in a six-man tag, and she pinned Gigaton. And even on the mic, Utami said, man, I don't know. What have you done lately to prove that you're really worthy of this title match? And Mirai was like, hey, let's have a tag match and let's prove that I actually am worthy of challenging you for the title. That was weird.
Like, I know what you're thinking. I haven't won anything ever in this company, but let's do it anyway. Like, why not?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, again, I respect Mirai's work for sure. I think she's, of everybody, I think, because like I said, all of those, everybody from Stardom that came in, her, Julia, Sakurai, Utami, Yuzuki, they all had big expectations placed upon them. And Julia left. And the others, I don't think, have been very good, ultimately. And she actually has been good, but she has not been positioned in anything I like in this company ever. Like the tag team with Sakurai, I know I'm always hard on I praised her earlier, Strigga. It's on record. I praised Sakurai's match earlier, but that tag team did nothing for Mirai. I promise you that. They've got her these undercard goofball matches. They had her fighting like a Yuki before. That's like her biggest win like in this month is like she beat Minami Yuki. And it's like, what? And like now she's the title challenger. It's a shame because ultimately, if not her, who then? Like we're in that situation. Like who has been built up to that level?
Yeah. Who has?
If they wanted to flip that match and have Darkness Revolution win in the undercard, maybe you could continue that storyline with Utami. Like, have her fight Nozaki or something like that. But I'm hopeful for the match because I think match quality wise, Mirai is the best person that you could have outside of Nanai. And she's going to retire soon, and I think they should definitely do that match. Nanai should get a title shot in my opinion.
Yeah.
Before her retirement, just for quality's sake, and to bring something up.
Hey, she's wrestling Mirai on April 5. I'm not guessing that she's winning the match.
Passion injection right now. So yeah, Mirai can win that, and they're going to build her up, and hopefully the match is good. But they haven't done enough to make me excited about it overall. Even though I am the original Mirai respector of everyone, I just don't think they've been respectors of Mirai in this company, unfortunately.
So,
yeah,
I think they have agreed to have the title match in Yoyogi, right?
Okay.
I think they have. That would be on May 25. I think they did, but they haven't announced anything yet, except for that. Where is it?
That's a long way out.
Yeah, that's a long way out. Misa Matsui has tweeted that she's getting the tag title shot on April 25 in Korakuen Hall. That's her and Chiaki of Darkness Revolution against Nanae Takahashi and Seiri Yamaoka. And I think they announced this tag match that they build up after the main event with who is it? With Utami teams with who was it that came out? It's Mirai and Mai Sakurai against Utami Hayashishita and Victoria Suzuki, I think. It was.
Okay.
I think it is. That could be the match for April 25, and then they could go on to the title match in May. But that's a long way out. You're right, actually. But
maybe a Golden Week show.
Maybe Golden Week. Golden Week.
Like do it at the start of the month instead of the end. Would kind of make sense. If they have any.
I think that might be a mistake right here.
Yeah.
Wait a sec. Something weird on their schedule, but the Yogi show appears to be in May. I'm not sure because on their schedule it says 4/12, then it says 5/24, and then it's 4/14. That's on their schedule. I don't know why they put that in between this, but that's weird. However, do you see Mirai becoming champion?
I think also it could be the reason why that could happen in Yoyogi is because it might be the first anniversary show too.
It is.
And that's why it would be later in the month then.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. We figured that out.
I would actually pull the trigger on Mirai.
Me too. Like this Utami run doesn't do it for me. Like I'm sorry. And again, I like her. And she did great things before 5 years ago. But I just have not liked her run very much at all. In Marigold, I don't think she really brings that much to the table. Mirai, I think her booking has not been great, but they put the tag belts on her and Sakurai, even if I didn't love the team itself. She's really been up and down in terms of singles, run. Like sometimes she wins, sometimes she loses. She doesn't really have any big wins to her name. But maybe this could be, now you've got Nanai and her, could be a great match, by the way. I'm very excited to watch that match. Maybe that'll be Mirai's first step to getting a big win. I'm with you. I think there's much more upside in Mirai than Utami at this point. Even if it doesn't work, I don't think there's anything with Utami worth pushing forward at this point.
Yes. So that concludes Marigold. Dylan, there is more build. We talked about the big show for Marigold. There is more build to the big show Stardom is having at the end of April too.
Yeah, I mean, they've really built up. Like the main thing right now has been Shuri versus Mayu Iwatani. Yeah, for the IWGP title. And there was a big thing coming up about like Sari did this interview where she talked about Shuri didn't defend it or didn't deserve the title shot after their incredible match that they had last month. Sari and Shuri should like a match of the year level match they had on Sariism for sure. But she was talking about Shuri didn't deserve it. And they've kind of tinkered around with that a little bit. You've got Azumi challenging Starlight Kid for the white belt, which is a tried and true rivalry. I mean, and I'm sure that match will be really good. It does feel a little lazy, like hey, we're going back to what we've done a bunch of times before because we don't know what to do otherwise with this white belt. Happy Azumi's getting a main title match though.
Yes.
I just think the problem is that Starlight, there's too much juice left in her as champion. I feel like to change the belt now. So, but the match should be good. If you've seen their matches before, I think you can expect the level of quality we'll get. Maybe they might even be able to add a new wrinkle to it if they go to a more epic like main event match rather than a high speed title match.
I don't know because I think that will be the third from the top for the title matches. Because of course you have the World of Stardom loser retirement special match.
Yeah, that'll be the sure.
Then there is Mayu and Shuri, and I don't see Starlight and Azumi being above that.
I could. I think Starlight's been pushed more than those two, like in terms of the company, like this past year. Like look at the year-end show that they did last year. I mean, I think it's possible. Overall, and I think that they're going to want to. I think it would be wise of them to put a big focus on those two in particular, Starlight Kid and Azumi. So I think that they could have a pretty major match. But I mean, like I said, look at Kid's run so far. Her and Poi was one of the main matches on the year-end show. Her and Rena had a main event match, which was like they trusted Starlight. Yeah, they trusted Starlight to carry that. Because Rena is not a star player. I mean, she's getting there. Don't get me wrong. But Starlight has been really somebody they pushed a lot. Shuri has not gotten any push at all. We talked about it before going into the Sari match. Her best role the last year has been as a side character to the Koguma and Ronnie Yakabe comedy feud. So I mean, this is their chance to get back to where I believe Shuri should be as one of the top stars, and we all believe in Mayu Iwatani and know what she's about. So I think all three will get big matches on the show. To be honest with you, like regardless of the order, and I think they're going to want the white belt too over the IWGP title. So. Whatever order, I think both matches will get good time, and I think this will be a chance for Starlight and Azumi particularly to show out. But I will say, Mayu and Shuri's last match at the start of last year was in my top 10 of the year last year. I think they're a phenomenal combination, so I think that match has a very strong chance to be the match of the night. Although, I mean, some people will be with the main event because of the drama factor.
Sure.
But that's a strong 1-2-3 combo, I would say, like to end the show.
It's going to be a successful show.
Well, I mean, it depends on whatever blowback there is from the bait and switch that they did, like last month with Saya and Tom. I mean, I don't think it'll lead to anything bad. I do think it'll be a good show, a successful show for sure. And I think as a fan, just watching it, I think those are all three really strong matches overall. So I'm looking forward to the show, and I think they're doing good things with it. I thought they handled the Cinderella tournament about as good as you could overall. Even though I dread the possibility of Carrara using her wish to save Tom's career. We don't want that. But besides that, though, I do think it's a really good idea. And they've got these American shows coming up, too, on WrestleMania weekend. They're going to send some people over with. Not the same as some other companies where they're sending all their big stars. Like, they're sending some people. Like Azumi's there, Starlight's there. They're going to be on the DRAGONGATE USA show, too.
Yes.
Which I know is a big deal for those two because they're so heavily inspired by DG. I think Micah's over there. Momo, she's been over there a bunch of times. A lot of people are coming over there. Yeah. Okay, let me look at the list right now. Azumi, Hanako, Hanan, Konami, Maika, Mina Shirakawa, although she's leaving soon, Momo Watanabe, Saya Ida, Starlight Kid, Suzu Suzuki, Shuri, and Tekla are all going to be in Sin City there. So you've got a decent contingent of people, but they left out the main stars, like Tom and Saya Kamatani, who I think people would have wanted to see for whatever reason. Who knows? Maybe they just didn't want to go at the end of the day. Wouldn't blame them at this moment, to be honest. But, they're going to set some stuff up there at the American shows, and then all eyes will be on the main show at the end of the month. So, good stuff with Stardom. We kind of talked about the Cinderella tournament last time.
Yeah.
They handled it pretty well, I would say. So, good stuff. Let's see what happens going forward with them.
You know who also is going over to Sin City? TJPW is. They have all
their main guys.
Yes, they are, of course, having their own show in Las Vegas on April 18 with 4 matches already announced. It's Mio Watanabe versus Masha Slavovic, International Princess title, Suzume against Jada Stone, Princess Tag title, Haruka Misao and Shoko Nakajima defend against Wakana Uehara and Yuki Kamifuku, and in the main event, Mizuki defends the Princess of Princess title against Mio Yamashita. That's a completely traditional TJPW show, but not in Japan, in the US.
Hopefully, they can get a spark from all this.
Yeah.
Because I think the company's really in a tough spot, like at the moment, to be honest.
I mean, I liked most of the matches they had for not for Queendom, but for what's the?
That's wrong company. You're talking about Grand Princess.
Grand Princess, not Grand Queendom, Grand Princess. That's right. I mean, I liked most of the main matches. I liked Suzume and Arisu Endo doing their thing in 50 minutes. I thought it was perfect timing for the two. Tag title was really great and might have been my favorite match on the show. Mizuki and Rika, also good match in the main event, but also there was no real chance of Rika really winning the title, so there was no spark to that either. But they really need something to get more crowd investment, and you saw it in OZAWA. It was a really tough draw for them, barely above 1,200 fans for OZAWA. That's not a good draw. Yeah, so this Las Vegas show, I hope they once again are able to create this original TJPW feeling in the United States. They are usually pretty good at it. Let's see where that goes. Do you think Jada Stone has a chance to win the title?
No.
Really?
I don't think there would be any reason for that.
I don't know. It's just, it's third defense. Yeah, well, I don't think so, yeah.
I mean, it's nothing personal. Hopefully she gets to show out or anything. I just don't see a point to that right now.
Yeah. Same for Mizuki and Mio Yamashita. It doesn't really make sense for Yamashita to win the title. She'll be spending lots of time in the US and internationally again this year, I think.
I have to say, I was a lot lower on that tag match than you, and I just think like both of them, like Miyu and especially Maki Ito, are like they're just totally checked out to me. Like I didn't see any soul in that match at all. Like to be honest, I
mean, you can go up and down the card. There's
that's true. Like you're right about that. Yeah.
I mean, except for Suzume and Arisu Endo really did well.
I thought Willow and Miyu did good too. Like I
thought this match, for me, it was a disappointment.
But yeah, I mean, I can see that.
It was so short, and the finish came so out of nowhere for me.
Yeah. You're right about that. Yeah.
It was half as good as it could have been.
Yeah, and I still liked it. I thought it was better than most stuff on the show, but I agree with you. Ultimately, for sure.
Meiko and Yuki Arai. That's... Man.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It was okay, but I'm not, with Meiko Satomura's last run, I'm not looking for okay matches.
Yeah,
of course, it makes sense to pair her with Yuki Arai because they want to get her over to the main event level. It makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, I defended that when we talked about it last month. I said it was a good idea.
Yeah,
and on paper it was, but the problem is it's Arai. So she has
I mean,
now shown that she's had her chance, and she's shown
she had good moments in the match, and I liked what they did after the match. That she was crying because she was afraid of Meiko Satomura. I mean, that totally fits her character. It was fine.
I think maybe Arai needs a Kamatani-esque like heel turn type of deal. But the thing is, here's the thing.
One of my predictions for this year, we finally need a heel stable at TJPW.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, that's the problem with that prediction, is that there are no heels in this company.
Heels. Maybe they should have a heel. Maybe that would be a spark.
I think that would give you that would give the company a central focus, which I mean, we've seen that be so successful at DG. Like, usually it's a main heel group that everyone else is fighting, like, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see what they do, like, overall with this, because I think that they're kind of happy just doing their thing, pretty much. Even though it's diminishing returns so much, like they're not nearly where they were for so long ago. I mean, they kind of had a little bit with like Neo Bashiki-gun like type of deal, which is kind of like a heel group. Yeah, kind of. It wasn't really, but it kind of, at least it was a group that people could chase after. I think that could be a good way to go for things. Like I said, have a tormented Yuki Arai like snap and lead a group of malcontents on the company. I mean, I don't like that because I just don't want to see her wrestle. Like, is my problem with that more than anything. But at least it would give a spark to the company, and you could at least point the company towards a direction of some sort, which this show didn't really feel like it had.
When you contrast this show from TJPW with the Sendai Girls, Top of Joshi wrestling show from a couple of days after that. In OZAWA, TJPW, they had a mostly darkened building, but with Sendai Girls in Yoyogi, they had this bright building with lots of great lighting, a huge crowd for a Joshi company like Sendai Girls with 3,520, much, much more than All Japan drew when I was in Yoyogi. That building looked so great and so gorgeous for this particular show, and Meiko Satomura returning to Sendai Girls has given this promotion a spark that TJPW could also need. And what a great main event it was between Shiro Hashimoto and Meiko Satomura. The only thing that I wouldn't say I despise, but I criticize a bit here is that it was once again Shihiro Hashimoto defeating Meiko Satomura to now have, what's that title run? The 6th title run that she has now? I think it is. Yeah, she's
prolific
champion for the 6th time. And the only thing that I would have done differently is have someone else be in the position. Preferably, of course, Mika Iwata, because I like her a lot. But they've tried with her and they've done that title run before. But I mean, it was a great title match, of course, don't get me wrong. But it's once again Shihiro Hashimoto on top. She is, of course, the big ace of the company, and it is going to be someone dethroning her for a great moment. But Shihiro Hashimoto has been there before, and she is, of course, the big ace. She's not gotten anywhere better with defeating Meiko Satomura here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm looking up and down the card, thinking about who it could be, but they always land back with Shihiro Hashimoto, and that's fine for them. But it was a very good show. I thought it was up and down the card. There was lots of variety with the multi-man matches, with singles matches, with the crazy hardcore match between Dash Hisako and Risa Sera. Junior title was on the line with Aya Sakura defeating Chi-Chi, and tag title match, of course, the Sendai team getting their win back from Stardom against Hanako and Maika. So overall, good show and a successful one for Sendai Girls.
Yeah, before the show happened on our last show, on our YouTube upload, Remy, a good friend, always commenter, always listener, always a part of my beloved YouTube friend group that comments on our Eastern Lariat shows. Big shout out to everybody out there again. We were actually talking about this show and how good it was, like how good the draw was of it. I know how nobody really expected it to get that high. I did see some people say that maybe this number was inflated a little bit. Maybe it's not even possible to have this many people in the current setup.
It looked much more crowded than the All Japan show that I was at. I want to say
whatever number it is, it was good. That's the thing we say. Because I'm always the first one to be the conspiracy theorist on this show and question promoters for lying to everyone, which that's what wrestling promoters do.
Right.
So I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying it was still good. Like whatever number it was. Yeah, I thought the show itself, the hardcore match was a great spectacle. I thought it was very nice to see Dash and Risa in kind of a major match like that, because they're another two that feels like they've kind of like taken a big step back recently. I thought that was like really hard hitting and like a really good hardcore match too that they had. They really went all out to make this feel like a big match, even though it was forced from the top. Sakura and Chi-Chi did not have the magic of their first match in January, which was like a fantastic match. This was good, but it didn't have the spirit of the first one, even though it was a good execution wise. By the way, big shout out to Chi-Chi right now. Yes. She's going through a terrible injury at the moment. It was some kind of vertebrae thing, I believe.
It may have been.
That she went to. It was a pretty serious injury that she had, to be honest with you. I do hope she's okay at the end of the day. A compression fracture of the thoracic vertebrae.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it right now.
Yeah, so she's going to be gone for a little while. I hope, God bless you, Chi-Chi. I hope everything goes okay with your recovery, and one day you can get back healthy and stuff. But regardless, the match was good. Enjoy all those matches that they've had. The first one I thought was great, though, and I thought they were really good. Tag match was really strong. I think Hanako's grown a lot. Teaming with Maika, I think that was a great pairing for them. I think everything about her is like really improved since her debut, and I thought she worked well with Red Energy here. Takase is a really talented wrestler that does not get as much love as she should. Because she was another one. I remember when she first came in, I was one of her soldiers pretty much online. Like, hey, like the Phoenix of Osaka, she is legit. Like, you have to go with her. She's going to be one of the top wrestlers.
Yeah, she was absolutely the highlight of Actress Girls back in the day.
Before it changed. Yeah,
exactly. Before it changed. The thing is, though, she's mostly, just looking at what she's doing, she's mostly wrestling for Sendai Girls, but she's a freelancer, though, which might be the reason that they're not going completely with her in a better position.
And I think Red Energy's in a fine spot, too.
Yeah, good spot.
In my opinion. Seahash beating Meiko, great match. What you said is true, though. It's nothing we haven't really seen before. It's just the typical high quality you would expect from these two overall. Some really great strikes between everybody. I thought they told a good story of Meiko being a better striker than Seahash, but Seahash had the power advantage that you could kind of bring in, and that led to her victory. So I thought it was a good story. Good execution, hard hitting, didn't go too long. I know a lot of time freaks out there are big on matches going over 20 minutes, so you got that here. So yeah, good show. Top half of the show is really good. The undercard was not worth watching. I would argue.
Hey, Dylan, now that we've come across Miyuki Takase and I've looked at her career and the promotions she has wrestled for, I of course came across Pro Wrestling Noah. Do you remember the GHC Women's Championship?
I definitely know it exists. Like, I did not forget about that, my friend. And how dare you imply that this is not a major title in wrestling?
I mean, it's held by Koki Amare right now. And Koki Amare, yeah.
She's been injured for like 3 months.
I know. That's the last match that they had for the title.
And they're just like, whatever. We'll wait for her to get back. It's fine. Like, it might take 3 months. It might take a year.
Who cares?
And that's Noah in a nutshell. Every time we talk about him, do they care about anything?
Yeah. Before we go any further, Dylan, I want to shout out the brother promotion to Sendai Girls Pro Wrestling, both, of course, from the Tohoku region. There have been 2 uploads on Wrestle Universe for shows from Michinoku Pro Wrestling recently, and I liked both of them. The first one was from March 2nd from Tokushima, where they drew an official crowd of 1,600. I don't think they are lying, Dylan. Come on.
Seems pretty legit to me.
It looked like a good crowd, but 1,600
Yeah,
seems
sure.
a bit out there, I would say. I want to
Sure.
shout out the Gaina versus Aransano match from that card. Was the semi-main of the show. Aransano, of course, from Osaka Pro Wrestling, 21 years old, really beefy guy. Gaina, of course, one of the original beefy guys in the Japanese indie scene. They had a good
Yeah.
beef brawl with one another in 14 minutes. And recently, Michinoku Pro Wrestling have added some wrestlers that they also had in the Fukumen League last year. So fighting Ganesha, a mysterious wrestler from India, is sometimes now wrestling for them. And they also have, of course, a Pantera Jr. that is their Toko Junior Heavyweight Champion right now. And Sangre Azteca Jr. is also with the company. He is a guy from Mexico as well, if I'm not mistaken. And so they have added them to the card, and they have had Yui Sato, a new rookie debut, on that card as well, in an exhibition match, who had his official debut a couple of weeks later. So right now, with Pantera Jr. on top, Michinoku Pro, I think, is in a good place, especially because on the March 15th show from Iwata, from Yahabe, they had the junior title match between Pantera Jr. and Ringo Yamaya, one of the guys that they've pushed in the last year. He is right now the Toko tag team champion with Rase, and he faced Pantera Jr. in a very good junior title match, I thought. And after the match, Pantera Jr. was attacked by Yasutaka Osera, and Osera took his mask. Of course, Osera, with Michinoku Pro Wrestling, has found success also with Osaka Pro Wrestling, and their Rogue Nation group has turned heel there, has bulked up significantly since wrestling for Osaka Pro 2, and he is now challenging Pantera Jr. for the junior title, which will be a good program. Yasutaka Osera right now, he's very successful. He is the Osaka Pro Tag Team and Light Heavyweight Champion. And I want to say I really like this talent exchange between those two local promotions. They totally benefit from one another.
Oh, totally agree with that. I watch these shows and I always listen. Nobody loves Gaina Zero, also known as Hub, more than me. Okay, on there. So I will always be down for a good Gaina match. And like you said, one of the OG big guys, the Japanese indies back in the old days. It's really cool seeing Rase still doing his thing too. He's a guy I was a big fan of. 10 plus years ago now. All these guys, I just have such a warm feeling when it comes to Michinoku Pro and Osaka Pro as well. Like, I feel the same way because, like, O-Pro was, like, my jam, like, way back in the day. M-Pro was something that I loved getting into, again, very early on. I was an early adopter of a lot of the stuff going on there. You know, I mentioned it before when we did the induction, Fujita Hayato, that all of their matches they had with people like him, Yoshitsune, Keno, that we talked about. But also, like, the entire roster of Fire Pro Wrestling returns, like the old Fire Pro, not the Fire Pro World. I just had so much fun in the Michinoku Pro version there. And these guys will always have a good spot in my heart. Yeah, fighting Ganesha, for sure. Definitely, who could this be? Definitely.
Who could this be?
If you've seen him wrestle, he's very mysterious. I have some guesses. I have some people that I think it could be. But I don't want to expose Zeus that much, that he is also wrestling in MPRO. Yes. I don't know where he came up with this India gimmick from.
It might also be the bodyguard, for all that we know.
Some people could say I think his physique is closer to Zeus, in my opinion, on that end. So I think you need to check up your glasses, Strigga.
We might need a high kick exchange there then.
That man is Zeus. There's no doubt in my mind.
Going to the nostalgia again, Dylan. Out of nowhere, this dude, Jun Nishikawa, resurfaced on the scene after not wrestling for 12 years. He had one match with JTO, then had a couple of more in 2024, and now is with Michinoku Pro Wrestling. Jun Nishikawa, originally trained by Kensuke Sasaki, Masa Saito, and Katsuhiko Nakajima for Diamond Ring. Dylan, Diamond Ring. Debuted in 2010 against Bear Fukuda.
I was just about to mention him.
And I guess he retired in 2011. Had his final match of his original run against Masato Shibata. Whatever happened to that guy? The Masada of Kids Go Office. So Jun Ishikawa is back now with Michinoku Pro, and he's looking quite good. So another addition to the roster.
Bring back Bear Fukuda.
Isn't he?
What I want.
He has this situation, this medical situation he had.
Wow. Oh, I hope he's doing okay.
Hey.
Yeah, big shout out to Bear Fukuda. I used to love him. He was Hustle Ranger Yellow.
He was.
Yeah.
Look
it up. I'm looking at it right now in his cage match.
Yeah. He has kind of this medical situation, but I'm not sure.
Oh, well, I hope he's doing okay. However he's doing. I was a big fan of him and, Los Toceros back in the day. That's another one in the Fire Pro Wrestling world. They were one of the most memorable characters in that game. So this is all stuff from way back with the Diamond Ring. But, Nishikawa coming back, that's great. I think it's wonderful to see people jump back into things, try to find your way back into this crazy world of wrestling. But he had the run with JTO last year. Landed in Michinoku Pro this year. I hope he has a lot of good times ahead and fun in wrestling and good success because all of those guys in Diamond Ring. There were so many people that flamed out of Noah and Diamond Ring back then. People that had a ton of upside. Before it's remember when Ota came back for that one match on somebody's anniversary show? I can't remember. But he looked jacked. He was a huge. I was like, what the? What happened to you in the last 15 years? That was a couple of years ago when Ipe Ota made his return. Remember that match? It was God. I wish I could remember what show it was from. But Okita was another guy that I loved.
Mm-hmm. I loved him too. I saw him live once actually.
Awesome. But yeah, he was great. He had a ton of potential that did not come in. Okay, yeah, so he wrestled against Yusuke Okada at the
Memorial Show.
Yeah, Memorial Show. Yeah, so man, I can't believe it's been 6 years since that. I thought that was 2 years ago. He came back.
That's the same distance when Takashi Yoshida was the Champion Carnival for the last time.
yeah. So all the big things happened. But
2019, yeah.
Yeah, it was a big year, but I hope that Nishikawa has some good success. I love seeing the veterans Usera coming in there. I mentioned him a couple episodes ago for the O Pro. We talked about that. Their big show, Excalibur, from the end of the year last year. Very good show. He had the mask gimmick originally, and he's now doing his thing there with Rogue Nation. I think that he's a great talent, and I love that he's here at MPRO. Pantera Jr. is somebody I was really impressed with too.
He's good. He's so young into his career. He's when did he debut? Oh, he debuted in 2010.
10 years ago.
Oh, 10 years ago. I thought he was not so long into his career. Okay.
Yeah, no, but
he's good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his. I think that he's got a lot of potential. He's been around for a while, but hasn't been doing anything of note recently.
No.
For sure on there. But I remember I was a big fan of his brother in Wrestle One too. Back then, Io Pantera.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that, he was really good and somebody that never got to do a lot. I mean, he's just now getting into CMLL, after all these years. And when did Wrestle One end? Yeah, around the time Ota. Yeah, right after the start of 2020, yep. Right after Ota came back.
Yeah, Wrestle One closed right before the pandemic started.
Yep, I mean, I guess they picked a good time to get out. Overall.
So, quickly, Dylan, before we go to the Sakura Genesis card at the end of the show here, Noah had their show on the 22nd in Korakuen, drawing an official record of 1,550, with Ozawa defeating Masaki Tamiya in the main event. We had Eita going over Alejandro to defend the junior title. Amaxa and Yunta Miyawaki won the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title from Rattels. Hayata and Yohei and Kenta beat Ulka Sasaki to position himself as the number one contender for Ozawa. And we had a very short match with Tetsuya Endo defeating Takashi Sugiura in the first round of the national title tournament.
I think we also have to mention the aforementioned Gaina was in Noah. He was at the Limit Break show that happened a week after this as well.
There also was a mysterious guy on another Michinoku Pro card by the name of Nambu King. He looked very similar to Gaina, but I don't think that it was him.
That was Bodyguard. Okay, that's why you got it wrong as usual. Right now. Yeah, no chance that was not that was Gaina. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
But no, it's very cool to see him in Noah. And even Koji Doi was on that Limit Break show of all people fighting Kaz Fujita, which is what a match to be given. But yeah, this big show for Noah. Noah. So I'll say this. I'll start off with the good. I'm not going to get right into negativity on this show. I'm going to start off with the good. I think it's cool that they're building to something big with Kenta, and they didn't really rush it. They've given this time to cook a little bit. This run with Keno and now Oka joining him. I thought that match was good. I thought it was like a very solid match. Nothing like super special, but Kenta and Noah is where I wish Kenta was for the last 5 years or whatever. Because I always said I hate watching him, especially because he was one of the greatest in the world at one point, and was originally one of my absolute top tier favorites. But I don't really need him to be that anymore. I just want him to be Kenta that's old, like a Kenta that's aged gracefully. What he was in New Japan was like one of the worst wrestlers alive, and that's not something that I ever wanted. I had zero interest in seeing him do that, and I actively despised it. He was literally one of my least favorite wrestlers to watch in any company. In Noah, I think he's tolerable, and I'm growing on him. I said I had to start off where we've been the last 5 years, which has been really bad. But he's growing on me again in his role that he's in. And I think he is like one of their only legit stars of this company that is a totally reasonable person to win the title, of Ozawa, which Masaki Tamiya was not. I have to say, even though I like him as a wrestler. Like they had a chance with Kitamiya after the cage match with Nakajima, and that was it. Like that time has come and went. Anybody hanging on to that is not thinking correctly. It will only open yourself up to more pain, sadly. But he was a good filler challenger for Ozawa, made him look good enough. I think they've built a legit match, and again, I really am not a fan of this Team 2000 stuff at all. It's really, I don't even want to say jump the shark because I don't know if I ever actually liked it, to be honest. I thought it was cool that they were giving a fresh guy a new look and a new push. I've never loved the execution of this group at all. Like Yoshi Tatsu is the manager. The name itself tells you where we're at. And I've never really gotten into it, but it's worked. It's drawn. This did a good number. It's not fallen off at all, and he's done a good job. And I think they were smart in that they've taken this time with Ozawa as champ as to basically bury and disassociate their time with Kaito as the champion. Completely. And because if you compare it to that, then yes, everything now looks better. And they've really taken advantage of that to whatever negative comes Kaito's way. I don't think he can get any lower, really, so it's fine, in my opinion. And I think it was smart. And I think it's really worked. The evidence shows that they've done a good job with this. Now Kenta's back. Yeah. The hero of Noah. Somebody who's really endeared himself since coming back and making his return. I expect the match to be good, potentially very good, but I have my doubts that Team 2000 won't get involved.
I have my doubts about this match. I don't know. There's going to be smoke and mirrors left and right.
And I know you're not even that into Kenta anyway, right now.
I mean, he's fine for me. I was never such a huge fan of his in comparison to you.
First ever match, Marufuji for the title that I ever saw.
I always acknowledged him as one of the greats in Japan, but I was never really true Kenta fan, to be quite honest.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I you agree that he sucked in the last 5 years.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, yes. Like I said, whatever you thought of him, maybe you weren't a huge fan of his, but come on, man, he deserved better than teaming with Chase. Yeah. But he really didn't, though. His performance really didn't, and that's the sad part. He was the lesser member of that team, which is scary to think about. But now at Noah, I think he's doing a lot better than that. And again, that's such a low bar to clear. It's not massive praise, but I think it's worth mentioning. And I thought the junior tag match was really good. The big story of Junta getting his first title, teaming with Amakasa. I thought they did that very well. They didn't drag on and on and on like most Hayata matches tend to do. In the tag team, I think, Rattel's is a lot better than Hayata as a singles guy. Although, now that they've lost the belts, who's to say? Like what will happen next? They gave they gave him the title. I thought they looked good. I thought it was a good match. Probably my favorite on the show, actually. Eita and Alejandro, nothing match as you would expect from Eita. I would say, like, pretty much. Main event, Ozawa and Kamasa, good, too much nonsense. I'm not really a big fan of it. Endo and Sugiura was even worse. Like, I don't know what they're doing with Endo at all. Like, what was the point of this national title? There's so many questions, I would say, with the title.
It's completely nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way to hang this up as. Just completely nonsense. That whatever the big show they're doing will live on the Ozawa and Kenta main event. This is a big test. Like, if this show does a huge number and this overachieves as a match and Kenta wins the belt, I think they will have set the stage for a really good run for him. Like, I will say that. Like, if this all delivers and comes together good and he looks like a hero coming out of it, I think this could actually work. And I mean, it's hard to say that about anything in Noah, but I think this could actually work. And if Ozawa just wins, who the hell's winning this title? Like, there's nobody. Yeah. Like, there's nobody in this promotion. Like, there's literally nobody that could win it besides Kenta, in my opinion. And other than building up Ulka, I guess. Hopefully
Ulka could be Ulka. I mean, they positioned Ulka underneath these guys like Kenta and Keno for now, but Ulka might be the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that should be their next project, to build him up as a true main eventer.
Ulka winning the title of Kenta sounds like a great idea that Noah should pursue.
Absolutely. And they have a whole, like, almost a year to build to that to be a major match where Ulka takes the crown.
Yeah.
And then you could circle around back to your Ozawas, and maybe if you do actually stop bungling Kaito, you could actually do something there.
Yep.
So you could bring back people from there. So there's upside to this company right now. I think maybe if you're into the Team 2000 stuff, you might be really enjoying what they're doing. But I just don't like it at all. So I'm really not into it. The best stuff is still Fujita and Odashima. Like, they're very good as a partnership and a duo and the rivals and all that stuff. So I like that. There's good in this company. It's not as dreadful as it was before, but there's a lot of flaws as well. And let's face it, there is potential that Hayata and Yohei win those belts right back from Junta.
Yeah,
there is potential.
There's always potential of that.
There is potential that this national title just continues to get screwed over and everything gets messed up from where it was. There is potential that Ozawa continues the interference-related gimmick matches going on there. So there's also potential for terrible things to happen as well. Overall, we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah. Potential for terrible things happening is a good segue to our final talking point of this show for the Sakura Genesis card for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Dylan, we have a complete card for this coming Saturday, April 5. In the opening match, in the pre-show match, Katsuya Murashima faces Daiki Nagai. I implore you to watch this match. These two are great. Then the actual show opens with Yuya Uemura against Sanada in a special singles match. Could also be very good. New Japan World Television title match, El Fantasma versus the Great Okan. That's the one where I think I'm really not into that match and that feud. Hiroshi Tanahashi Final Road, and there is a special title to this match. And in English, it's the kanji for it is Tsugi, and it means as much as inherit, succeed, or continue. It can also mean, let me see what it can also mean, take over. Yes, follow in a role. So they, of course, set this match up to be a match for Shota Umino to follow in a role for where Tanahashi has been. But is this going to be a match, a point in New Japan Pro Wrestling where Shota Umino actually just continues to wrestle like he is? Or Dylan, will he open the third chapter, like you alluded to on shows prior to this, where he could actually turn to the House of Torture?
Well, I hope it's not that, first of all. But secondly, it says it right in the title. Inherit or continue.
Yep.
Maybe he doesn't want to be like Tanahashi. That's why he shaved his head. He doesn't want to be a legend or a champion or anything like that. You know, I did a review for the final of the New Japan Cup on the Patreon, patreon.com/Eastern Lariat, if you want to check that out. And I talked a bit about how that worked out. And I didn't think that match was that great, personally. I know a lot of people loved it. And I mean, it was good. But I think it was good compared to Umino's earlier matches in the tournament. Not as great compared to prior New Japan Cup finals, in my opinion.
Yep. I agree.
But I love the booking. Like, just like we talked about Dragon Gate earlier, I thought it was so interesting that they had Finlay like show him respect afterwards and shake his hand. And the one thing that match succeeded at was that the crowd was getting behind Umino in that match by the end. And I thought that was very interesting considering what he's been doing so far. So I think this is a genius match to book, Tanahashi versus Shota. I can't wait to see how it turns out. I don't really want him to go to that dire heel. I love the idea of him joining forces with Finlay, though. Like a War Dogs version of Umino.
Yeah.
Like, gives him a new layer and a new edge, but without, like, jumping the shark. Like, you know, pretty much. Like everybody in the House of Torture did. You know, and plus that gives him a little bit of an edge because War Dogs have been much more babyface like the last couple of months than anything with Drilla, Game Kid. Finlay got some cheers even throughout the tournament. So, like, I think they've done a good job with them as a group. And I think that could be a good spot for him if they go to that. And with the current storylines with House of Torture and War Dogs feuding, if they wanted to have House of Torture, I mean, they're having a match right after this for the 6-man titles.
Yes.
That opens the door for Umino to run out and that be a true next chapter to save Bullet Club from House of Torture.
Yes, that could make sense, especially with Gabe Kidd talking him down so much in recent months.
Yeah, like I said, maybe that could be a future match.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
So that's the match after that. You mentioned Taiji Ishimori, Drilla Maloney, and Gabe Kidd defend the Never Openweight 6-man tag title match against Ren Narita, Yujiro Takahashi. Oh no, they are actually the champions. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Narita, Yujiro, and Sho are the champions. They defend the title.
How can you forget the lineage of this great title?
We have Konosuke Takeshita defending the Never title against Roy Oiwa. Should be a good match. I don't see any chances for Oiwa.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's
the problem with the match.
But, I mean, look what we saw with Bolton. I mean, that match was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's Takeshi's kind of role in New Japan. When you need someone to get to the next level, put him against Takeshi, and he'll get them there. And I fully expect this to be a fantastic match. I've seen Oiwa have great matches. I know he's been a dud in New Japan so far, but I know that he has potential.
He has it in him, but
exactly.
They're just not using him.
Exactly.
On the topic of the company trying to get someone over with Callum
Newman,
he is in the semi-main event. Oh, actually not the semi, the third from the top for Sakura Genesis. He challenges with Jeff Cobb for the IWGP Tag Team title against Tetsuya Naito and Hiromu Takahashi. I don't think that's going to be a good match.
Well, you know, it was interesting with all the rumors of Cobb going to WWE. They even mentioned it on commentary.
Yeah,
on there.
They did.
And yet here he is.
He is.
Well, I don't expect this match to be that good. I mean, it's Naito and it's Callum. I mean, I thought their singles match was like really bad. We'll see what kind of interactions they could have here. Maybe Callum will take a shot to improve. Hiromu, he is Hiromu. Like, no doubt. Like, he is definitely Hiromu Takahashi. There's no way you can deny that. He's going to come out in some crazy entrance gear, and he's going to do a lot of the work in this match and try to make it good. Him and Cobb could be an interesting pairing, to be fair. It's something different, at least. And I think this company needs that always. So, yeah, the match will not be great, but I think there could be flashes here. If Newman can step up a little bit and Hiromu and Cobb get a shining moment, I think this can accomplish what they want it to, even if it's not that great of a match.
I guess. Leaves us with the 2 heavyweight titles on the line. Yota Tsuji defends against Evil, and Hirooki Goto defends against Finlay. I see Finlay winning. I don't see Evil winning.
Oh yeah, that global match looks awful on paper. Like I think Tsuji's gonna. I mean, their first match was terrible in the New Japan Cup, so I fully expect more of the same. I think this could be even worse actually because it's going to be the semi-main. The first one went under 5 minutes, so yeah, this could be awful. What if Shota ran out of this match? It saves Tsuji. That could be a little bit of an interesting thing.
Yeah, interesting twist.
I think that would be a good role. Like if they wanted to have Umino tease.
Hey, why don't we have Shota Umino running out in all of these matches?
Just every match.
He runs out to save Gabe Kidd. He runs out to save Yota Tsuji, and then in the main event, he runs out to make sure David Finlay wins the title.
No, he saves Goto in the main event after saving War Dogs earlier. He just saves every faction. He's just like, somebody take me in. I actually think that could be a fun gimmick. Like somebody who's just like begging to be put into a group, but nobody wants him.
Yeah.
Not for him, the person they want to be a main event player, I would say, but still. But yeah, I think that would be something interesting they could do. Like have. Maybe they could do something with him and Narita and Tsuji, like him trying to bring the band back together, like a little bit in their new versions, like pretty much from where they were at. But I think there's at least interest in what Umino's going to do. I think the tournament wasn't great for him by any means, but I think it did accomplish what they wanted and make him more interesting as a character going forward. It's kind of crazy because he has one of the biggest spotlights on him of anybody in this company. He's like, third from the open, pretty much like third match on the show besides the kickoff match. But yeah, main event, I expect it to be great. I've really enjoyed the Goto nostalgia matches that we've had so far. I thought the Tanahashi match was really strong, and the Nagata match was very good as well. And obviously, the title win, I think, is like a match of the year level match. I don't think this will be as good as that, but I've always respected Finlay's work. It seems like pretty much everybody has come around on him by now. Like, I think that they should at least have a thought to continue this title reign, only because if you look at the shows he was in the main event of, they did so significantly better than the matches he was not in the main event of.
I know.
And I just, with Finlay, Finlay, like world champion, IWGP champion David Finlay. I could be up for that. I think his build has been a little bit weird because before the Cup, he really was like persona non grata for like a couple of months. Like we really didn't see him at all. And he just wins the tournament and gets the title shot.
It's not unusual, actually.
And he's in a feud with the House of Torture. So you would have to say, if he does win this belt, you can look forward to him versus Evil in a title match in the future.
Of course.
Do they want to, again, they played around with Evil so many times, and we know Gato wants it so bad. Like, he wants this to work.
Yep.
But the evidence shows that's not
They
true.
will surely try again.
I mean, again, I don't hate it if Finlay wins at all. Like, I think he deserves it through his work. But on the other hand, Goto deserves it for his work and because of what he means to the fans as well. And I just think that there's a lot of juice left in this title reign. But I do agree with you ultimately. Like I told you, go back and listen to our show we did after he won the title. This is the exact scenario I predicted would play out. Finlay wins the Cup and takes the belt at Sakura Genesis. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what will happen. But I do think they have to at least, they can't be blind to what's like that. They actually have a good champion for the first time in this title's history. How many times did we waste our bums with this title? Like Sonata, Jay White, it never meant anything to it. Zach's run was a bust. Like Ibushi, failure as champion. Like how many times did they break up Naito and Moxley? You finally got a good champion that it took you years to do. And it just seems a shame to end it so soon when you finally have a good champion. But I do think my brain is telling me that he will win. He shouldn't win in my opinion, but he will. I think based on their booking. But if it were me, I think Goto is the correct choice to continue. But then the thing is,
do you want to? I mean, Finlay's on such a hot run right now. I don't think that you want to cut off that hot run. I know Goto is on a hot run as well.
That cup final did not do great compared to.
Yeah, I know. You're right. You're right. Comparing the numbers, Goto.
What hot run? Like he lost in the dome.
He did, but
and then disappeared for 2 months, and then won the cup.
This New Japan Cup run was good.
No, he's great. Like I love him as a wrestler. I've always defended him. Like even when people said that he sucked, and they were wrong. I
want to say one thing though about the final shows of the New Japan Cup, Dylan.
Oh yeah,
I've brought up that point on Straight Wrestling as well, and Flosh and I talked about it. I don't really like the format that they're doing, and I think that is a big detriment to the ability to draw at the end of the New Japan Cup, because they are doing 3 shows to get 3 New Japan Cup matches done. And when you look at the semifinal shows, one was in Shizuoka that did 856. One was in Fukushima, did 722, and then the final, always in Niigata, 3,271. If they had one big show, I think the draw would be much, much bigger than what they did here.
No, I totally agree with you on that. Like they were able to get away with that with a G1 when things were hot. But I think they should recalibrate that, because they did like the Carnival setup is doing, where it's the semifinals and the final on the main show.
Yeah.
Hell, they could have put the world title on the line. They did it in the middle of the tour inexplicably. And although that did, to be fair, that did a great number.
Yep.
Yeah. So they got 2 big shows instead of 1, even though the last big show wasn't that big ultimately. So it kind of worked. It could have been even bigger though. Like you said, if they were all on the same show, they really loaded up that final and made it an event. I think that's what I would do, to be honest with you. Like give us a big show like event, because I don't think, especially now, we've seen in years past where they would break up. Like even New Beginning last year was like they broke it up into 2 different nights. Like imagine if all of that was on one singular show. I mean, it's something we've said before about New Japan in the past. And I think they're holding on to when things were hot. Like I said, I think they would be much stronger to combine these shows into one major event every month. Like make it seem like a big deal. The Cup final should definitely be one of your top events of the year. They should make it that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the tournament was good in terms of Finlay for sure. I love his wrestling. I don't mind him, but I really don't get the sense he's this overwhelming can't miss star. I have to say. That he, oh, we can't break up his run. He doesn't really feel like that hot of a star, in my opinion. I like it no more than Zach did when he won the title. Like, and then, I mean, that was worse because he won the G1. Like, and then so he would have wanted him to feel bigger. But I feel like if Finlay wins, he's destined for another Zach-esque run of like some good matches, but he just kind of fizzles out. And if they have him feud with House of Torture, and you're not even going to get good matches out of it. And I just really want to keep the title away from all of that for once.
I know.
But I do think he'll win. I think he'll win. But I do think Goto, if it were me, I think the correct choice is to build to whoever your next. Because that's the thing. Neither one of these guys are going to be the ace of New Japan, going forward. Would it mean more to beat Finlay for the belt or Goto?
Goto, of course.
Exactly. And I will say this. If he somehow does win against our expectations, the Zach match I was 50-50 on. This one I'm much leaning more towards Finlay winning. But let's say Goto wins. I think there's a chance this goes to the Dome. Like, who will they have ready by Dominion to take this title? If it's not Finlay.
Yep.
It's not because of his strength as a champion, even though I do think he's a good champion right now. The problem is they don't have anyone built up. So, I mean, that kind of makes it seem like Finlay will win, because I just don't think there's anybody else there.
I guess.
Like, the people you would think of, Naito's already a tag champion. Tsuji's a champion. Takeshita's a champion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Umino and Uemura have not been built up that much. There's just nobody else there.
Nobody else, no.
That is one good thing. If you are a Goto fan hanging on to hope.
Hey, Zack
right
isn't
now,
even on this card right now.
It's pretty interesting, right?
Yeah. Very conspicuous by their absence, TMTK.
That's interesting. Like I said, who knows why that is? Is he doing Mania weekend stuff?
I think he is, but I'm not sure. I've not looked at
this
the
is
cards,
that shouldn't affect this either. Like this is the start of
No.
Yeah,
Shouldn't.
yeah.
I guess he's. Let me see. Is he doing the American shows for New Japan? That's the week thereafter. New Japan website isn't loading right now. Can't look that up.
No.
There it is.
Oh,
Windy City Riot. Yep, he's on that card.
Still don't know why he can't be on this one.
I don't know.
I will say this about...
He's wrestling Finlay, actually, in a special singles match on that card.
Interesting. And when does that show take place at? Or like
the week after Sakura Genesis. Friday, April 11.
Yeah.
So if Finlay wins the title, Zack versus Finlay is going to be a world title match.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Pretty quick to have a first title match, I will say, but you know, I'm sure they want those shows to do well. Ultimately, I think that's as good of a match as you could have for the American shows.
Sure.
I will say this about Sakura Genesis. I think the show is an up and down card overall, but I like that pretty much every match has a meaning to it. There's no like random undercard tag that's wasting everybody's time. You know, you have Sonata, Waimura. I don't have any use for Sonata right now. Like heel Sonata, Phantasmo Khan, not into that at all. But they've been built up. One has a title. Tanahashi and Umino, I don't think that'll be a great match, but I think it's a great story that they can spin out of it and a good run they can have there. The 6-man match has titles. The Never match has a title, and everything else has a title. So everything has a meaning on this show, and I like that they've actually put the care into it to make this feel like we're going to put our best foot forward here.
Yeah.
That's even if that best foot's not that good.
But it's a big show.
But as a fan, I don't think this is a great card. Though, like, you know, I think it's a good story.
If you look at the individual parts, it's definitely not, but it's loaded with big matches.
Yeah, and maybe it can be somebody can overachieve. You know, maybe Waimura really brings it with Sonata, or Tanahashi winds back the clock, or Takeshi Inoue was a match of the year like level match, or Goto and Finlay could be a dramatic match. Like if they wanted to do something with that. War Dogs haven't been interfering too crazy in a lot of their matches, so I expect this to be a great match. You know, so there's hope for this card. I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it per se as a fan, but as somebody analyzing the stories and looking at their booking, yes, I think there's definitely potential for this to be a big show. And if some matches overachieve, it could be a really good show. Let's hope the fans at Ryogoku can really deliver and be into this as well.
Yes, let us hope so, and I guess that's good closing words for this show as well, Dylan. We covered a lot for this episode here, for the Hanami episode we did. I enjoyed it tremendously to get back with you in the mix. Yeah. Covered the entire scene here. So, yeah, I would say we close this one and say thank you to all the listeners, and goodbye.
Sayonara.